Today on Treasure Hunting America, we'll travel to Seattle where Mark Jenkins and his teenage daughter hunt for treasure together.
My daughter has been with me since she was born. I'd bundle her up and she'd be sleeping on my back, and it was great. It's kind of been a bonding that we've done throughout our lives.
Then we'll join Digger Bob in the Sierra foothills to hunt for gold.
I think it's the dream that we all had as children of being rich. You know, finding something for nothing. And everyone wants to be a treasure hunter. I'm living it.
And finally, we'll visit with Dan Cantrell, who hunts for rare tokens from the 1800s.
I did find a nice token from Prattam, Oregon. It was the only one in existence, so that helped bring the history back. No one knew it was out there, now we do. What's in the ground isn't specifically trash. It can be a treasure, and a treasure to anyone who does hit that target and brings it to light.
All coming up on Treasure Hunting America. Hello and welcome to another episode of Treasure Hunting America. I'm your host, Mark Hendricks. For the next half hour, we'll share some amazing stories of everyday treasure hunters across the country. As a young boy, Mark Jenkins started treasure hunting by digging up coins on the playground. Then at 9 years old, he got his first metal detector, and that's when the real fun began.
In 1977, I believe it was, when I first started, I was kind of tired of digging around in the playground and searching for coins and then waiting for 2 weeks and getting them returned from the principal. Somehow or another I saw somebody metal detecting or something somewhere. In 1977, at 9 years old, I got my very first metal detector. It was a White's 5000D. It sure dug a lot of nails for me. And I learned quite young that not to get discouraged of all the trash you get. I can't explain it. I mean, I remember because I was so young and I could think of all the treasures I was going to find and how rich I was going to make it. Of course, that's every kid's dream. Eventually, I started finding stuff. Basically, the first time I did go out, I did get a 1916 Canadian dime. Then I used to go out quite a bit with my dad, and he would take me to different parks and find lots of wheat pennies and quite a few silver coins back then. It's hard to remember exactly what I found. I searched many places since that time, and each time I get out, it's like a new adventure.
Being that Mark began metal detecting at an early age, he decided to get his daughter involved even from the time she was an infant.
My daughter has been with me since she was born, basically. I used to put her on my back and go out metal detecting down at the beach and at the parks, and she was always with me when I was out metal detecting. And even if it was night, late at night, cold winter, I'd bundle her up and she'd be sleeping on my back, and it was great. And it's kind of been a bonding that we've done throughout our lives. These up here happen to be things that my daughter has won in the past 12 years of her life, basically, because she's been brought up and born into the metal detecting world. And so she gets to enter these different hunts and competitions. She's won several medals and several trophies. Other people should be doing this, I would think, mainly because it's a good history lesson. You learn about everything you find. I mean, you could pick up a nail. If you see it at a square, you know it's been there for quite a few years. You get different items, it tells you different things. A bottle cap, a whole bunch of bottle caps. People had a lot of good times there in that area, and you can still find some good stuff through that. You just got to be patient. Other things you can learn is you can learn about history, about the area, what went on. You can write stories, come up with stories with things like that. This here is one of my favorite, or my most favorite find that I've ever had. Happens to be a cache of badges. I was out with a couple of my friends. We were hunting at a ghost town, probably about 5 minutes into it, I got a good signal and I looked down and I saw something. And so I reached down to pick it up, and it was attached to some cloth of some sort. I thought maybe I'm pulling up a dead person, but it kind of scared me a little bit. And I pulled a little bit harder and I could feel another one. So I just, I realized right there's more than one. And then I couldn't tell exactly what it was, except for I could see that they were badges. And so I rolled them up in a ball and I carried them back to the car. So I went back the next day actually. They had dropped a tree over the area where I found this. And so I figured, okay, well, they'll probably have it cleared up the next day. And sure enough, I went back the next day and there was 4 feet of dirt missing out of that area. So I think the only day I could have even found this was the day that I did find it.
When we return, Mark Jenkins will take us into Luna Park, where at the turn of the century, the Coney Island of the West stood, and now where treasure lies waiting to be found. Welcome back to Treasure Hunting America. Mark Jenkins hunts all over the Seattle area, but his favorite place is Luna Park, a very historical and beautiful location just in view of the Space Needle.
Okay, right now we're at Luna Park, and this is where one of the biggest sideshow or attractions used to be in Seattle area. Around the 1907 is when it was built. There was a roller coaster and Ferris wheel. In 1907, they actually had an airplane flying thing here, so all the activity was right in this general area. It's kind of a remake of what Coney Island was. There's been over 20 gold coins found out here that I know of. There's been all kinds of tokens, trinkets, you name it, that is turn of the century, you'll find it out here. One of the reasons why I'm starting in this area is because just recently they tore down a bulkhead, and all these rocks haven't been exposed for a long time, and that's usually where you look for coins and stuff. In fact, some of the most valuable things I ever found were right off the corner right down here. One of the things I found out here, which is just kind of interesting, is this barber quarter in this rock here. I know barber quarters are normal, but to find it like that makes it a little more unique. The reason why I'm hunting this area is because of where the barnacle line is at. That indicates where the sand normally is. And along this beach here, the sand's changed constantly. And so the further down it is along this line, gives you a better chance of finding something that could be really good. You can look up and down the beach, you don't see where it's down as low as this spot right here. So it gives you a good indication to start right in this point right here. You have to be there enough times to understand it. You can't just walk out there and think you know where it is. You have to really learn to read it. Because things change daily. I've seen areas change within 4 feet within 2 days. What I'm trying to do right here is I'm trying to search the lowest spots that I can find. And right along the sides of the rocks, quite often, is where you find the coins, because they have a tendency of, with the sand changing, going underneath the rocks. It doesn't even hurt to move rocks around sometimes. This wrench here was a thing, what I thought was going to be my last find of the year of 2004. I had probably about an hour left of sunshine, or daylight I should say. I thought, oh, I'm not going to find anything else. There was no other signals around the area. So I did keep hunting for about 5-10 minutes more. And then I did seem to come up with one other slight difference of an item. But this gold ring right here, a gold diamond ring, which I think is probably my best ring I've ever found throughout the years. And I think I just went out in a blast last year at the end of the year with this. One of the things that I find that's intrinsic is that I can help the environment. Lead has a tendency of leaching into the ground. It can do all kinds of damage. And you know, people hear about groundwater that has high lead contents. Well, by removing some of the lead when we're out metal detecting, you're doing the ground a good favor, you're doing the rivers a good job, and helping protect things. Removing the trash, you can always recycle that stuff.
With Mark's extensive history in metal detecting, his greatest joy comes in teaching children about the hobby.
When I teach kids, which I do for metal detecting, that's the first question I ask them, and always get the same first answer. Is to find treasure. And in a sense, everything you find is treasure. So it's enjoyable.
With so much treasure in his collection, Mark's ultimate goal is to find something not too many other treasure hunters are looking for.
My ultimate find would be something like going to some ghost town or someplace I've done research on, and to find in a mason jar somebody's diary, a story of somebody, something that I could just learn a lot of information from. I would think that would be the most interesting, the most fascinating thing I could ever do.
When we return, Digger Bob will show off his prize gold nugget he found in the Nevada desert. Welcome back to Treasure Hunting America. Our next treasure hunter goes by the name of Digger Bob, who began his adventure in metal detecting by prospecting for gold with his high school English teacher.
I got interested in gold in high school when an English teacher took me out gold panning. What kept me going was being able to find something, not right away. It took me a couple of trips, and I had to keep going back and just persevering. So I think I went out 3 or 4 times before I finally found a piece in the same place that we'd been going all this time. But before that day was over, I had 6 or 8 little pieces. Really, for me, it's a part of just chasing history. I love the 49er era, the gold rush, the California gold rush, and to be able to literally put myself in their footsteps, just like we are today, that really is the biggest benefit. The hardships that they had to go through just to get here, and then the enormous amount of work that they had to do to extract the gold from the ground. Life was unbelievably hard. To me, a metal detector is my time machine. There's no greater thrill to me to dig something out of the ground, even if it's no more than just a small little ball of lead, but because you know, you've done your research, and you know what that little ball of lead is. You know it's not a fishing sinker. You know it's a musket ball. It has no more value than a fishing sinker, but it has historical value because you know that the last person that held that, the last person to see that, was a dying immigrant coming across the Black Rock Desert in Nevada, trying to reach the promised land of California. And you're the first person to see that and touch that since it was lost 160 some years ago. That's a good sound. Now I'm going to check and see if it's iron. Turn the iron ID on. Okay, that's a good target. We're down on the bedrock here. You see that bedrock? It's solid rock, but it chips pretty easily with a pick. Got it. This is usually the, yeah, there we go. Oh, oh look, there it is. Well, that's a nice little piece. We discovered that there's a lot of gold over in Nevada to be found, not only here in the California mother lode, but Nevada gold is very coarse, it's very rough, and it's very pretty. Well, about 2 years ago, my buddy and I went over in March, just the two of us. Went to this one place that we had found the year before in the fall and never had completely hunted out. And we hunted for an entire day out there and didn't find a thing. The next morning, my buddy went back into town to pick up a friend of his. And while he was gone, I decided to go out and hunt for a little bit. If we didn't find anything, we were going to move on to another place. And just in the side of this wash, I thought I heard something. Well, I started digging down, and the signal kept getting louder and louder. I got down about 20 inches, and the signal it was just screaming at me. Well, I got down a little bit more, just a couple more inches, and I saw down the bottom of a rock that didn't look quite the same as all the other rocks I'd been pulling out. And I licked my finger and stuck it down in that hole there and just rubbed the end of that rock. And as soon as I did that and got that dirt, a little bit of dirt off of it, I saw this yellow gleaming back at me. And I knew, oh my God, that's a nugget, and it's a big one. I don't know how much it's worth. It's not for sale. That's the find of a lifetime. A nugget like this is rare by anybody's standards. Pictures don't do it justice. Go where gold has been found before. Follow the old timers. They did all the research, they did all the hard work. Just go and look where they looked. You will find gold that they missed because they were very inefficient in their methods.
With gold in his blood, the thing that keeps Bob going is a dream started in his childhood.
I think it's the dream that we all had as children, being rich. You know, finding something for nothing. Winning, it's like winning the lottery. You know, being able to find something that someone else hid and forgot about, and that's suddenly going to make you rich.
When we return, we'll meet Dan Cantrell, who hunts and finds rare tokens from the early 1900s. Welcome back to Treasure Hunting America. Some treasure hunters look for whatever they can find in the ground, but some look only for specific items. Our final treasure hunter, Dan Cantrell, looks for old tokens.
Well, I got started with my father-in-law introducing me to metal detecting. And first couple of times out, I was able to pull up a 10-carat and sapphire ring. So I was really stoked, and that's really what took me hook, line, and sinker into the hobby. Well, it isn't so much the targets itself that kept me going, it's the variety that has kept me going, from coins to tokens.
Sometimes treasure hunters focus all their efforts on specific items, such as Civil War memorabilia. Dan Cantrell enjoys looking for tokens.
Well, the tokens, they started out, you know, late 1800s, early 1900s, and they come in different denominations, 50 cents, 10 cents, dollar tokens. I've pulled a dollar token from Prattam, Oregon, and gave it over to Bill Brodowski to add to the Oregon token book. So that helped bring the history back. No one knew it was out there, now we do. It's not just a me, there's a lot of give back within the hobby.
In addition to tokens, Dan spends a lot of time covering local city parks, including Mount Tabor in Portland, Oregon.
My favorite areas to hunt are specific parks, and the reason for that is there's a lot of folks that get out here throwing the frisbee, playing ball, walking the dog, having picnics, and in that they're losing their coin and jewelry and so forth. The history that I know of Mount Tabor is that it started in 1888. So it's got some history to it as far as on the West Coast side of parks. So there's a lot of people gathering for different reasons here at the park, from horseshoeing to just a family gathering. There's, you know, volcanic activity here. It's actually an old ancient volcano, so it's a geological, you know, attraction as well. So what it does is it attracts the folks that attracts me to go hunt the treasures that they've lost in the past. Infant swings are good, I like, because sometimes I find engagement rings there, the wedding bands there, for the new moms and Dads that have been pushing their kids on the swing, sometimes they'll lose those in that location. So it's always a good time to, good place to check. Some of my great finds I found over the years, first of all, is actually the 10-carat and sapphire ring that got me started and hooked. A real great find for me, and you know, it's a keepsake for me. Not a great value monetarily, but for me, it's priceless. I pulled a 1892 $5 gold piece. One of the greatest finds I've had so far. This ring was really nice find, a 3rd-carat diamond, marquee cut diamond ring. It was a really nice find for me, and naturally all the rings that I do find, my wife gets. I found this 1876 quarter at a local school. The research is fun for me. I'm able to learn more about different locations, different people, different times, stagecoach, stage stops to saloons, old ghost towns. These are some of the things that create the fun. It isn't just always the digging, it's everything that comes with it. People should get out there and just have fun like I am. Get out there and metal detect. I feel people are able to be healthy, getting out in the outdoors. You know, it's not to go out there and get rich. It's to get out there and have fun, bring the family together. It's a great family gathering hobby. Everyone can do it, just a lot of fun.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Treasure Hunting America. Be with us next time as we explore more stories of everyday treasure hunters around the country. Until next time, I'm Mark Hendricks. Happy hunting! Treasure Hunting America is sponsored by White's Electronics, manufacturers of the world's finest metal detectors. For over 50 years, White's has been building metal detectors in the USA for treasure hunters around the world. For more information, visit their website or call the number on your screen.